So I had to come out and do a quick video about COVID in China. I was actually going to bypass speaking about COVID again because it's been such a such a painful topic to talk about, really. But every day at the moment, we're hearing about COVID in China. So let's take a quick, overview of what's been happening. So we're now at the end of April 2022. And literally a month ago, 2 months ago, in the UK, COVID had really ended. In fact, in the UK, COVID had ended exactly 2 years, almost to the day, the week, within exactly 2 years. And I found that really interesting because in history, a pandemic has never lasted more than 2 years. So true to form, the COVID pandemic lasted 2 years. But China, throughout the last 2 years, that the rest of the world seemed to be struggling with COVID, and that's interesting in itself. China seemed to have no COVID, but just as the West ends COVID literally overnight, it just seems to disappear. China seems to have COVID, and China as a nation is going into lockdown, and whether you have COVID or not, you have to self-isolate. And whether you have COVID or not, the self-isolation is more draconian. It's like house arrest, so it's not really self-isolation. The Chinese people are in house arrest. Now, it looks like you could take from it that China seems to be justifying their draconian house arrest, lockdown of the entire nation, because their COVID death rate is much lower than the West. I think China claims that they've had 250,000 people in total die from COVID from a population of 1.4 billion, where I think the US has around 1 million people that have apparently died of COVID, and they have a population around 350, 400,000 people. So maybe that's what COVID's about in China, I don't know. But let's just step back a little more. So remember when COVID had begun, and it was touted in the news as a killer virus. This was the worst thing ever, and we should all be afraid, be very, very afraid. And then very quickly, out of thin air, actually, let's just go back. So around March 2020, COVID started, and we went into a pandemic around mid-March 2020. Well, before the pandemic started, COVID-19 vaccine trials started on March the 1st, 2020. So we have a vaccine, a cure for a virus that creates a pandemic 2 weeks before the pandemic had even started. So that is just amazing by itself. And then we were told for several months, it's a killer virus, everyone be scared, we must lock down everyone. And that's basically what happened. And then we were told, instead of 7 years that it normally takes to develop and release a virus, and that's if you're really going some, we're going to have this virus done in about 7 weeks. Well, I think it might have been 7 months that the first vaccines were available. But in effect, it was basically almost straight away. And remember, this vaccine was touted, presented by the news media as 96% effective. And so that was the virus, catching the virus and transmitting the virus. Remember that. The vaccine was 96% effective. And you had to have 2. And then later on a booster. But from those initial statements of it being 96% effective against infection and transmission, one day they just stopped saying that, and it became absolutely evident that it didn't stop transmission and it didn't stop you getting the virus. So What you were taking the vaccine for, I'm not sure. Now, okay, so apparently the vaccine stops you dying if you get the virus. So apparently the vaccine works. Okay, right. And then we're locked down, this month, and then everyone's free that month, and you're locked down again this month and free that month. And then along came Omicron, which was a real turning point, because this was going to be, even worse and more contagious and an absolute disaster. But it turned out to be very similar to a common cold. And at that point, people just gave up and thought to themselves, well, natural immunity kind of works, and that's now our policy. So we're just going to let the vaccine run riot, and we're going to be fine. And sure enough, in the UK, people claiming they had COVID went up, and then it came down literally as fast as it went up. And COVID's just over now in the UK, for example, and Europe, it seems, and America. It's just sort of finished. It's just in the past. You don't need to be tested anymore. You don't need the virus. You don't need the vaccine anymore. It's just finished. But yet, at the same time, China is in this draconian house arrest, lockdown. All Chinese citizens are, they are being locked down, and if they step out of line, they go to a concentration camp, basically. And this is just a person that's normal, that doesn't have the virus. That is how China treats its citizens. Now, I'm not anti-China or anything, but my goodness, what is happening is unbelievable. It's just shocking. Now, also, Denmark this week has announced that it's no longer doing vaccinations. Vaccinations have been suspended. So an entire country is now doing away with vaccinations and just leaving it to natural immunity. So remember, it was initially advertised as a killer virus, and the saviour was the vaccine. That was what the news media pumped into your eyes and ears all day long for almost 2 years. And all of it seems to be not the truth. Or seems to be, I don't know what it is. It's just ridiculous. But yet, this virus that doesn't seem to kill people, but has killed people. I know several people that have died because of COVID, and it has transpired that there's no proof of that. So, in all these statistics of COVID deaths, we can't even believe those statistics. It's ridiculous. So we have Denmark, an entire country, not even offering vaccinations anymore. They are suspended in favour of natural immunity. That's how I understand it. Another thing the reason I'm making this video is I want to, in the link below, I'm going to put Dr. John Campbell's video, because he goes over this much better than I am, and it's just shocking. And he has about 2.5 million subscribers, and more than that watch his videos every week, and he's become the UK's czar on the truth about COVID-19, and I absolutely recommend that you go to his video and watch it. He says better what I'm saying here, and all the facts and figures are there. So again, in this video, the negatives are obvious. The positives are that COVID really should be ending for China sooner rather than later, hopefully. It looks like they're just catching up with the West. I feel absolutely sorry for Chinese people and Chinese industry, and the normal person, the man in the street. That's who I really feel sorry for. I've never felt so sorry for two nations, China and Russia. Also Ukraine, but Ukraine is a victim. I've never felt so sorry for two nations. And I know that's going to make me look a certain way and sound a certain way, and that isn't me. I'm not pro-government. I'm not pro-capitalism. I'm not, pro anything really. I just really feel so sorry for China and for Russia. They are run by governments who are coming across as terrible. And watching the news today is like an entertainment. It's like a joke. How can these things be happening in the world that we live in? It's amazing. Anyway, I thought I had to make this video. It is just unbelievable, and I feel sorry for China and the Chinese people, and I hope it ends for them sooner rather than later. And of course, I hope this Russian conflict ends. I mean, what a nightmare that is. What a mistake Putin has made. I just feel sorry for these people. Anyway, I hope if you're watching this video, it sort of comes across in the way I meant it. And, I hope everyone's well. And no doubt speak again.